In this tutorial, I am going to show you how to use different tools available in the echo3D console to put together 2D assets with 3D assets and then build a fully functioning augmented reality scene in 3D. Let's kick it off. So I was able to find this perfect Lombardi trophy, but the issue, like most 3D models you find randomly on the internet, is it didn't have its material once I finally exported it. It didn't have its material when I finally imported it, so I opened it into the model editor, and here you can modify the material, work with the lighting, kind of tweak the 3D model a little bit as needed. So we're gonna try to see if we can get it nice and shiny to make it look like the original. So in the model editor, you'll see the paint palette. That's where you can go. I've worked with the metallic roughness of it and adjusted between the roughness and the metallic. Here you can see it's becoming shiny, much better. And then if we turn it to metallic feature, it looks beautiful. So here we go. We're tweaking it a little bit to get it looking as smooth and shiny as possible. And once we are done with that, we're going to export it to the console. So that's just going to put it back in the content section where all of the other content cards live. This part usually takes a few minutes, so if nothing happens right away, don't be alarmed. There will be a pop-up and then you'll just have to refresh your browser and it will appear. And perfect, there it is. It is nice and shiny as intended. You may have noticed that the 3D model is on its side and not facing in the proper direction. So we're going to use the scene editor tool to correct that. The scene editor tool allows you to adjust the transform, the scale, the positioning, rotation, and it actually allows you to build complex 3D scenes. So in this case, in particular, it looks like we have an old object from a previous scene, and the really cool feature with this is it stores whatever project you were working on previously. So you're able to toggle back and forth between content, scene editor, etc. So we're just going to go ahead and delete some of the old models, and then we can start with our adjustments. Okay, perfect. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go to where it says environment, and then we're just going to we're going to choose model viewer. This is just going to add the lighting, and that way we can see what we're working with. So first thing we want to do is we want to center it, and I'm using the hotkeys on the keyboard like you would in Unity, just on the left side, which is your E's and your W on the keyboard, and using those for adjustments. And so I'm just going to kind of play with it here, get it to turn around, figure out the correct proportions, and we'll just speed right through this part. Okay, now that we have it where we want to be, we're going to do a final center, and then we are going to go to File and export it to console. So again, that's just going to put this finished object back in the content section. And this, again, like the model editor, just takes a few minutes. In this case, it's better to stay on the screen or at least keep this tab open, and then it'll let you know when it's exported to the console. Okay, so it looks like our export is complete. Let's go check it out. Don't forget to refresh the page if you don't see the model that you're looking for. Perfect. As you can see, it's in the upright position. All the changes that we made to it stick. It is a little bit off center, but we'll go back in there and we can fix it a little bit after. But as you can see, look at the difference. The next thing that we're going to work on is we're going to pick two images and convert them to 3D assets. You can do this on the left pane where it has convert and compress in our tool section. First thing that we're going to do is upload the Chiefs logo to a GLB, and once that's done, it downloads automatically. Then we refresh the page, and we're going to go back down to convert and compress, and we're going to do that with the other logo. The reason that we're converting it into 3D models is because we want to build a scene in the scene editor, and that only accepts 3D models. So now that we have the 3D models, we're just going to re-upload those back into our console. Okay, so now that we have the two 3D models of the two sports teams' logos, we're going to go to the scene editor. And again, we're going to modify the scene. And we're going to make a couple of adjustments. We're just going to adjust the height and straighten out the trophy a little bit. And then we're going to go down to the console and we're going to pick a logo. What we're going to do is we're going to build two separate scenes, one for the Chiefs logo and one for the Eagles logo. Again, go back to the environment and choose model viewer so we can see our light. Delete whatever you don't need in the scene anymore. And because this is a 2D asset, well, actually it's a 3D asset, but it's very flat. It's actually a 3D sticker, so to speak. So when you look at it from the side angle, you're not going to see it. So we're kind of adjusting it at an angle, and we're positioning it so that the logo sits right on top of the trophy. Once you've got it where you want it, you're going to go back to File and Export to Console like you did in the previous step. Now that the export is complete, let's go check it out. Don't forget to refresh the page if needed. And there it is, perfect. We're just going to go back and do the same thing with the Eagles logo. And because everything gets saved in the scene, all you have to do is make a quick adjustment in this case, actually. So go back to model viewer, and then you can just delete the Chiefs logo and replace that with the Eagles logo, and then make the same adjustments and then export it the same way that you normally would. And you're going to export to console as well. Let's go back to the content section and make sure that everything got exported properly. Perfect. Let's do a recap. To convert the two images to 3D models, we used convert and compress. To edit the material on the trophy, we use the model editor. And to change the positioning of the trophy to get it right side up and centered, we use the scene editor. And then to build the scene with the trophies and each individual logo, we also use the scene editor. Thanks for following along. We hope that you'll find these tools just as helpful as we do.